Okay, so how do you get your website picked up and indexed by a large language model, or in English, an AI service, like for example ChatGPT? Okay, all right, well, let's have a quick look. First of all, here's any regular website. Well, slightly biased, maybe it's our website. Now, the way that a website is controlled in terms of how it can be seen by Google, it uses something underneath the hood called a robots.txt file. That TXT file effectively is a set of rules by which it requests search engines to play by. Effectively, it allows what can and can't access the website. For example, if we have a look, we can actually call up that file by looking at your website domain /robots.txt. Sure enough, you will see a list of commands there. So the first one, we've got user agent star. So in other words, that basically says any type of browser or user agent in search engine terms. Star basically means allow everything. You'll also see then there are commands. So for example, we've got such things as disallow and allow, and you'll see that there are URLs that sit after it. Simply put, disallow means that anything with a specific URL is not allowed to look at the website, and allow means that anything after that URL is allowed to look at the website. Now, this has been around for a very, very, very long time, and the basic principle is we can use that to control access for different search engines looking at our website, and we can control what content we can and can't see. Now, the good thing is that large language models, or the likes of ChatGPT, etc., they work the same way. You'll find then that there is a file called llms.txt, if we just bring that up there, and it works similarly. You can see that what we actually have then is a set of rules whereby we can control what an LLM, like for example ChatGPT, can and can't see. We can basically signpost it towards certain pages. We can tell it what a general page is. We can tell it what are, for example, our posts, blog posts. And if we've got any specific post types in WordPress, for example, post types we might use for the team section or our portfolio, projects, products. Again, we can list all of those out. We can use that to effectively tell an LLM what those things are and how it might want to index them. So it works in a similar way then to a robots.txt file. We can control what an LLM, such as ChatGPT, can and can't access on our website. Apart from that, you will find that these tools are actually quite similar to a search engine in the way that they read this and index our file. Now, if that looks a bit techy, and I'm sure it probably would, the good news is you'll find that there's some tools that will help us do this for them. Most of the time we are in our WordPress website, we might be using Yoast or Rank Math. Now the good thing is about Yoast is it's got a great little feature built in that will help us do exactly that. Now if we look underneath, for example, our Yoast section here, is you'll find underneath the advanced section, there's a new section here called llms.txt. The llms.txt is effectively where we can control access to this. First thing to do then is you'll find that it is off by default. We can just switch that on, which means that then if an LLM finds our website, we can control what it can see on our website. The other thing that we can do here is we've got a nice little feature that allows us to either automatically, or we can also then manually go in and change our page selection. So for example, if we have a look at this site here, you'll see that at the moment it's set to automatic page selection. However, there's nothing to stop me selecting this manually. Now here what we can do is we can explicitly tell it what's the about page, what's the contact page, where our terms, privacy policy. If we've got a shop, we can direct it specifically to that. Now this is very useful then, is if you've got some, shall we say, non-standard named pages. In fact, our website is a good example of that. We have an about page, but we don't have a contact page. Our contact page is actually called Get in Touch. So on our website, I've connected it up so that the contact page knows to look at the Get in Touch page. Not only that, we can then also set up our content pages as well. So if we have specific services or things that we want to ensure that are actually then going to be accessible via a LLM, we can set those up here. And the good news is we can pick those pages and we can add as many as we need to. So within this file then, what we've actually done is we've set out what LLMs can actually control the page, what they can see, and we've categorized it so that they can see exactly what content we've got available. So that if ChatGPT is asked a question, then it will find that on our website. However, the best thing to do, if you think about it, is with the likes of the LLMs, ChatGPT and such like, if you think about it, what we use them for is we ask them questions. So actually the best content you'll find on your website then for an LLM is going to be where you've got question and answer based approach. Now, if you think about it, if someone asks something like ChatGPT a question and you have a page on your website would be a perfect answer for that, really set that question out and answer it within that blog article. So in truth, unless you've got very specific searches like what's the best website design company in St Albans and Warwick, well, I'm sure some people might ask that, but maybe less typical to ask something like ChatGPT. More specific to ask what's the best way to make a really great website, in which case we could set that out as a question within a blog article and answer it. That would be much, much more likely to be picked up by something like ChatGPT. So your challenge, think about how you could make that work for your business. And the next time you think, how could I get my website in ChatGPT, just look back at this video. Hope it helps.